Awesome. Welcome, you guys. I'm so excited to have a special guest speaker on today. This is Kano. And if you've been reading at all, we just sent out an email last night. We've been posting about it all day today. We want to introduce you to Kano. And we want you to know what he does. We also have a special gift for you. So please stay tuned for more information on how to access all of this. I've had a few friends that have reached out to me and said, how on earth do you know Kano? And the truth is, I really don't know him yet, but I am getting the beautiful opportunity to get to know him in real time with all of you. So welcome. And he is with an organization called Mother Aya, which is a nonprofit organization where they help empower and educate people about Aya. And we're going to go ahead and just bring him on. This is such a beautiful opportunity for each one of you to be able to ask questions in real time and get to know him and also more about what he does. So please feel free to utilize the comments here. And I want to ask him a little bit more about his story. So instead of me just reading it, I'm just going to go ahead and bring him on. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring on Kano. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Tammy. It's my pleasure.
Absolutely. So can we just start with a little bit about your story? Like, how did you get into doing what you're doing now?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's been a long journey. So I'll try to give the Cliff Note version of it. I started my path towards plant medicine began over 10 years ago now. I'm originally from Canada, from Halifax, Nova Scotia. And
Wow.
I played in a rock band, punk band actually, and I toured and played festivals, and that was my life. And with that lifestyle came drugs, alcohol, excessive behaviors. My life ended up really in a pretty low place. So I kind of hit a rock bottom with drugs and alcohol. I put myself into a rehabilitation center. I spent a full year, actually a little more than a year, in this rehabilitation center. And it was there that I began to see the holes in the Western system of how they help people with addictions and everything that comes along with that, depression, anxiety. You know, there's kind of a host of things that comes with that. And certain things that I didn't quite resonate with. And I think there's a lot of great, there's a lot of great purpose to the programs, and they do very good work, and everyone's trying to do great work. So I'm not coming down on them, but I just felt like there was a better way, for myself anyway. I didn't resonate with the whole idea that I had this disease that was incurable. And I began researching with work through Gabor Mate. I'm not sure if you're familiar with his work, but he's an incredible doctor who I watched a documentary where he was bringing addicts down to Peru to work with ayahuasca. And that was the first time I had ever seen or heard anything about it. And it sparked an interest for me. And part of the process they were going through, which I really resonated with, which was getting more connected with the earth, more connected with themselves, and using natural plants and using plant medicine to really help themselves to heal and to become more connected with the root of their issues. And so long story short with that, I eventually found my way down to Peru. I began my process, my own healing process with the medicine. I was lucky enough to find a group, a community in my hometown of Nova Scotia that I was sitting with, and I began working with them and assisting them and helping out. And it was a beautiful community. And then I would continually go back down to Peru to do what's called a dieta. So it's a process of going deeper in connection with the plants. And in that process, I ended up being offered a position to work down in Iquitos, down in the Amazon. with an organization called Ayahuasca Foundation, um, which was an incredible honor for me at that time. It was also very difficult to try to make that decision, to uproot my entire life in Nova Scotia and move all the way down to Iquitos in Peru. But it felt like very much of a calling to me. And
Yeah.
I had been receiving so many gifts and benefits from the work that I was doing on myself that I wanted to really continue learning and continue growing and continue healing. And with that, to me, I believe always comes a responsibility of sharing that.
Yeah.
Um, so the more that I learned, the more that I would be helping assist. So I'd be going down to the jungle, I'd be coming back and I'd be assisting. Then I got the job in the jungle and I was working side by side with my Shipibo teacher. So the Shipibo are a tribe from the
Mhm.
Amazon that are known as like the masters of working with ayahuasca and other plant medicines. So I got to spend a little over 2 years working down there,
Wow.
and living down there and being fully immersed in it. Um, I learned so much about the Shipibo language, the traditions, all the plants, all the different treatments. Ayahuasca is only one part of it.
Right.
Um, and then from there, I met some friends who were opening a temple in New York. So I moved up to New York and helped them to open up this temple. And I lived there for 4 years and ran this temple with them. Um, and then I met my partner, my wife now, who's from Puerto Rico. Um, and of course,
Beautiful.
there's lots of stories within these stories, but
Mhm.
I ended up moving to Puerto Rico, and I have my own center here in Puerto Rico with my wife, and we do retreats and do work here. And then I met my partner in the church Earth Connection community, which I developed with my friend Brett. Who is also involved with Mother Aya and Mother Aya Collective. So we were opening this temple, sanctuary in Arizona. So this is happening in the end of April. We're having our grand opening. We've done some ceremonies there, but we've done a big remodelation, and we're doing our grand opening in April. So the people that have all come together to support this work, and Mother Aya being an incredible pillar for this, and a portal as well for education, and for preserving the indigenous culture,
Yeah.
preserving the information. And so with that, very honored to be doing this work. I continue going down to the jungle and studying with my teacher. I have a very uh, strong connection with my teacher in the jungle, and I continue putting on retreats and serving the medicine here in different places.
That's amazing. Well, I didn't realize how much we really have in common, like, because I also my, like, early teenage years, although I wasn't in a band, but I was a kind of a groupie. I would go around to different places and listen. Anyway, I totally relate with a lot of your story, and I just wanna say how, like, this sounds kinda weird to say this, but I'm, like, really super proud of someone like you that you took, the pain that you had, you took it from a not a judgmental place, look, going through what you were going through, but seeing how there were some holes in it and wanting to support the collective, really, like, that's
Mhm.
so beautiful. Um,
Thank
so I just wanna say, like, how freaking cool is that? And it is more like a little bit of, I would say, a calling, like you said,
you.
something that was calling to you, right? And
100.
so let's
Yeah.
just go ahead out of the gate here. Let's say somebody is watching this and they don't even know what we're talking about. What is Aya? And can you tell us a little bit more about that? And maybe also why people don't do this at home, why they would go on an experience like what you
Yeah.
are offering.
So ayahuasca is a very, very powerful plant medicine, and there's a misconception a lot of the times between medicine and drugs, right?
Mhm.
And ayahuasca is definitely a medicine. It's definitely not something that you would take recreationally. There's lots of things you could take to have a great time and take it recreationally. But ayahuasca is more something that is, ultimately it's a meant to be done in a ceremonial setting. There are many different traditions that work with ayahuasca. Um, I'm familiar with the Shipibo tradition that I work in, which is more of a doctoring. The Shipibo healers are called curanderos or curanderas, so they're kind of the doctors. Um,
Mm.
and there in our belief, it's any illness that comes, in physical illness, emotional illness, anything like that, really comes from elements of energy being out of alignment, you know, and particularly spiritual alignment. So alignment with yourself. And what to me, what it really boils down to, and what I've been learning over the years, is that this understanding that we are nature. We
Mhm.
are not separate from nature. We're not even just a part of nature, but we are nature. And there's so much in this society that pulls us away from that and distracts us from that. And I believe that's what causes so much suffering and so much disharmony, which creates illness, and it creates illness within us. So ayahuasca is it's actually two plants. It's a tea, um, and it's made of two plants. Which one is the ayahuasca vine, the other is a leafy plant called chacruna, and it's a combination of these two plants that create the magic of this brew. One or the other wouldn't necessarily create the same thing. Together they create this. So it's a unity of these two plants. And there's some real mysticism around it as well, where no one really knows exactly how they learned how to make ayahuasca. And no one really knows how long ago that they first began to make ayahuasca. And there's many, many tribes in the Amazon. We did a mapping of it one time, and we were able to come up with about 91 different tribes in the Amazon. They're not all there now, but that we're working with ayahuasca as a
Mhm.
ceremonial tool.
Mhm.
Um, so in my tradition, ayahuasca is used as kind of a diagnostic tool that we're able to go into a meditation in a ceremony that's a safe space that's being held for you, meaning that it's contained, and someone like myself that's leading the space plays an incredibly important role of this, because the
Right.
person that is serving the medicine is also the person that is guiding the energy in the space. And I do that by singing traditional, ancient, actually, chants that are called ikaros. So these ikaros are vibrational, and when I sing them, I'm channeling, I'm channeling an energy. I'm still singing like actual Shipibo words. So it's not, some people use like light language you might have heard of, or
Yes.
things like that. But this is actual Shipibo language, which they say was given. The Shipibo say was their language was given to them from the plants. So they say it's the language of the plants.
Oh, wow. That's
So
beautiful.
so during the ceremony, you will drink the tea, and then you will go into a personal meditation, and some of the effects that you might feel, it's not, it's considered to be a psychedelic, but it's not necessarily always psychedelic. So it's not necessarily like you're going to just have all these crazy visions and have all these things. Sometimes that can happen, but sometimes it can be more just emotional release. One of the things ayahuasca does is really help us to cleanse. So she
Mhm.
cleanses our bodies through a process of purging,
Mhm.
which can be, I call it getting well, not
Mhm.
getting sick. So we're getting well this way. Sometimes going to the bathroom, sometimes sweating, sometimes tears, yawning,
Mhm.
sneezing, crying is a really big emotional release. So a lot
Mhm.
of the times ayahuasca is helping us to release things that we're holding on to, that that we really need to let go of. And so there can be a whole lifetime of experience that
Mhm.
happens in an ayahuasca ceremony. There's really a lot about it that I can talk about, so it's difficult to kind of like uh, wrap it up or to
Yeah,
succinct it into
in a nutshell. Yeah,
things. But I guess I would say ultimately it's a medicine that really helps us to connect deeper with our true selves, to help us connect deeper with our authenticity, and to help us to connect deeper with the natural world that is around us.
that's really beautiful. I really appreciate you sharing. I had a few people ask me, "Why are you having this on? This is, like, not even legal," and all this kind of stuff. So I just wanna ask you point blank here, what is the mission of what you and others at Mother Aya, what are you guys trying to do, with this? And, I appreciate you explaining a little bit more about what it is, but, like, why would somebody do it? And I ask that in a respectful way, in a way that is, I genuinely think that there's people that are watching right now, whether it's live or on the replay, that have the same kind of question. I've asked if anybody has any questions, none have come in yet. Um, but one did come in a text before, and this was it. They're like, what are they trying to do? What's the mission behind it? And why would somebody want to do that? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's a lot of reasons. Everyone's going to have different reasons why they would want to, sit with the medicine. Um, someone might be struggling with certain elements in their life. Of course, some of the main ones that people come to this for is if they're stuck in certain patterns, such as addiction. Maybe they're working with different illnesses. Depression is another thing that people come to work on a lot. When traditional medicine is kind of not working or failing for them. One thing, and this is my own voice and my own experience, actually what I've experienced in my life is that I find that Western medicine does a really good job of sort of treating symptoms, and that doesn't necessarily get to the root of curing things, right? Especially when we're talking about things like depression, anxiety, addiction, different things like that. Where this is a medicine that it's not something that's it takes courage to do this. It's not something easy to do, right? A lot of the times we're going to be faced with elements of things that we might not want to face within ourselves, right? And this is where we have the true opportunity for growth. This is where we have the true opportunity to move out of old patterns and to move into new places and to expand and to have new perspectives on different things in our life. So that's one of the beautiful things that this medicine can do, is to give us a different perspective of something that we might be stuck, that we're working with within our lives. Another element of this that is really, really important to me is community, and how it brings so many people together. That since I've started doing this work, it's like the community has grown, and there's communities that, there's different circles of communities that come together, and we're all coming together with kind of a combined prayer of really bringing a lot more good things into the world, like
Yeah.
bringing, like treating people kinder, and that starts by treating ourselves better and learning how to treat ourselves better, and by healing things within ourselves. The truth of the matter is that this isn't necessarily for everybody,
Mhm.
and some people might not be ready for this type of experience. you know um, some people might believe that they're not ready for this experience as well, and that's okay. That's totally okay. This isn't something that I believe that is should be forced or peered onto anybody. It's something that
Mhm.
you feel the calling, to experience this, then that's great. You speak about the legality of it, and it's true. There's actually quite a gray area with this, because we do have something in the Constitution that's called the Religious Rights Freedom Act.
Yes.
And through our religious practice, we are allowed to use the sacrament. And
Mhm.
in Peru, it's actually revered. It's a national pride in Peru of ayahuasca is a national pride of theirs, and it's completely legal there. Um, and here in the U.S. And in other places, it's kind of gotten put into a category of something that has no medicinal benefits at all. And I can personally say that to me that's BS, because I've seen it in myself. I've seen it in many other people as well as the medicinal benefits. However, it's not something that you would look at the same way that Western medicine, where you take a pill and you go about your day and it just, it fixes things for you. It actually takes personal work, and it takes us going into an experience, having a ceremony, bringing an intention to your ceremony, being open to what comes up for you. And then the most important part that comes after is integrating what you've learned,
Mhm.
integrating the experience, staying connected with community, and being able to make some really big positive changes and really important positive changes in your life. And of course, with everything, there comes downsides. There comes people that are not qualified to be serving this medicine, people who haven't done proper training, or people that have the wrong intentions of serving
Mhm.
this medicine, coming from a place of ego or whatever else that might be.
Mhm.
So it is very important that anyone who is interested in exploring, experiencing this, or they feel a call to experience something like this, it's important that they ask a lot of questions and ask about the person that's serving the medicine, about the people that are holding the space, about what's in the medicine, where does it come from, all of these things. There's no questions that any facilitator or any place that you're planning to go and to experience this, there's no questions that should go unanswered. Yeah,
Wow, that's I'm really glad to hear that because I'm somebody who will ask a lot of questions, and so I appreciate that encouragement. We do have a couple of questions that came in.
great.
So these are like totally off script here. We're gonna pull them up here. This first one looks like it's from Anna. 3 years ago, I participated in an ayahuasca ceremony, they say, but I can still feel its effects in my body to this day. It was a very profound experience. Why do I still feel it inside of me?
I love that question, and I express this in all my ceremonies, especially for people, after having their first experience, is that, we're our understanding, my understanding, and the people that work with me, is that we're working with the spirit. We're working a plant spirit, and when we invite that spirit into our bodies and we invite that spirit to come and be with us, she's always with us. She's
Mm,
always with us. And again, it goes back to what I said, is that we are nature. She is nature. We are
mhm,
connected with that, inherently connected with that. And we forget our connection and how connected we are with nature. And any one of us can go and have a moment with a tree, or a plant. And a lot of people do. A lot of people love to garden. A lot of people love to spend time out camping, out in
mhm,
nature. There's a natural resonance to nature that is in alignment with our own resonance. It's called the Schumann resonance, if anyone wants to look that up.
mhm,
And so once we experience that, and once we make that connection, it's very much like a relationship. So we build a relationship. We begin a relationship with Mother Aya. We build
mhm,
a relationship, and something that I've been exploring deeper in my own understanding is that, you know she's called Mother Aya, or grandmother, because she has a very wise uh, energy to her, and the way that she teaches. When you experience her in ceremony, it can feel very much like a grandmother is teaching you. And a grandmother a grandmother does not teach always with just kindness, but she teaches with unconditional love. So I'll give an example of that. If a child is going to go stick their fingers in a socket, the grandmother's going to slap their hand, and the child might not understand in that moment, and they might cry because they're like, well, grandmother just slapped my hand. But what the child didn't understand is that what the grandmother was actually, teaching them that you don't stick your fingers in the socket.
Yeah, it
That
will
might
protect.
that might be a silly example, but it's one nonetheless. So I feel, and I've experienced this as well since I began working with the medicine. I can take a moment in silence. I can take a moment of quiet and meditation, or I can sit somewhere in nature, and I can connect back in with that intelligence. I can connect back in with that source that can be considered to be Mother Aya, or can be considered to be Mother Earth, or can be considered to be a higher power. I don't have the answers to all of those things, and I think it can be based a lot on an individual understanding or an individual experience. But I guess in short, to answer that question, is that she's with you for life.
Yeah, so hopefully that makes sense to the person who asked that, Anna. Um, I feel like it does make sense, and gosh, you got me all emotional. Probably because I was thinking about my own grandmother who does have such an unconditional love, such a maternal love, and yeah, deeply wise, but like so nurturing and so caring. Like I won't ever forget my grandma, she was like my best cheerleader, my best supporter, my best friend in many ways. So I love that so much. This one's going to come in from a friend of mine. Scott says, how do you recommend someone find a qualified retreat center for Aya? And I know that you will be able to speak to this really clearly. So I'll let you go ahead on that one.
Yeah. Well, it's very important that the people that are facilitating have appropriate training and have worked with this medicine. This isn't something that you can just go down to the jungle, experience once or twice, and then bring back and think that you can serve this. It's like a doctorate. I've been working with this medicine, all in for 11 years now, and I still feel like a child on the process. There's so much depth to it, so it's very, very important that, first of all, that you resonate with the people that you're connecting with. Like, how does their energy feel to you? Does it feel genuine? Does it feel like it's coming from a really good place? you know um Another element of that is, like I said, like, ask all the questions. There should always be a medical and a safety screening that happens. If the place is not asking you about your current situation, then that should be a red flag.
Yeah.
And also, you know um it's I really think a lot of it comes down to, how you feel about, the people, but also like them checking all these boxes, right? um yeah. And mm, I know so many people that are serving this medicine in a good way, and I also know a lot of people that are not serving this medicine in a good way as well. So discernment is really, really important. um yeah, I don't know what more really to say about that right now. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, asking those kind of questions. Now, I want to go ahead and kind of reverberate back to this beautiful gift that you have for people to learn more. And that is going to be found at this website on the screen, motheraya.com. And there's a place that you can go and get the guidebook. You can also visit them on their socials. And when you comment the word guide, they will also send it to you. So there's a couple different easy ways for you to be able to get that anonymously or not, whatever your preference is. And I feel like there's a lot of really good education, which seems to be like the main mission, the main purpose behind what you guys are doing. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you come on, is because, I know that there are a lot of people who've been curious about it. I
Mhm.
went to Costa Rica recently and I saw ayahuasca. It was different. It kind of caught me off guard. There was a little placard that said what it was. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have known. But I remember the feeling that I felt. It was like a little bit of I don't, this sounds probably silly to some people, but I think that you'll understand. It felt like almost like a sacred experience. And as I was walking towards it and I saw the placard that said what it was, I actually felt to step back like 3 or 4 steps, and I just kind of like took it all in, just the view and to see it in real life in person, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh my gosh, like, whoa, hello, there you are. um,
Cool.
but I haven't had my own experience, my own, journey at all with this. And so I just appreciate so much your
Yeah.
perspective for sure. So,
Absolutely, and thank you for putting that up on the screen. That this is really important, and it is a big part of the mission of Mother Aya is to be able to educate and to be able to direct people to appropriate, safe places that they're able to partake in this if that's something that they're interested in.
mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, and safety is paramount. So
Mhm.
I really appreciate the safe container that you hold. What does the ceremony look like? I know that there's probably some things that you may not feel comfortable discussing, but if that's okay, maybe you can share a little bit about what feels right to you.
Yeah, no, I absolutely. So, as I said before, the ceremony, it's a personal meditation. So, in my tradition, we do that in the dark, right? So we do it at nighttime in the dark. Um, Everyone comes up to the altar and shares an intention. Um, I do a long speech beforehand to give everybody a layout of what's going to happen and set the container of the space. Um, and then we take the sacrament and then we wait for a while. And then once I feel that the energy is starting to move, then I will open the ceremony with singing the chants, the ikros, the
Mhm,
Shipibo language, which starts to protect the space, which starts to call in different
mhm,
plant energies that are coming in with light and love and good intentions are coming in to help everybody. And then we go through that for ceremony normally lasts around 5 hours or so. However, sometimes your perception of time within that can be it can feel like 30 seconds or it can feel like 300 years.
mhm,
So the perception of time is different. um, and so throughout that you can experience all kinds of different emotions, all kinds of different things. Like I said, you could have a whole lifetime of kind of experiences within that one ceremony per se.
mhm,
um, you could be challenged with some elements. You could be faced with some things from some memories from your past that maybe you feel shame or guilt about that you need to heal. You get a new perspective about that, and then maybe you move into some joy and some love and some bliss, and you feel great gratitude for all of the things that you have in your life that are beautiful, or all of the things that you've created that are beautiful. um, so there's a whole lot of that. And then also during the ceremony, the way that it has evolved, I'm not obviously not an indigenous Shipibo. So my teacher has taught me from an open heart and his desire to teach me, knowing full well that I'm going out to share this with the world. Like that's part of his mission, is to actually teach Westerners so they can serve this medicine in a good way.
mhm,
So with that though comes my own unique way of bringing my own medicine in as well. And
yeah,
some of my medicine consists of some different music. So I'm a guitar player.
mm,
So I bring some guitar into ceremony. Also, I like different medicine songs that are Spanish, or maybe Quechuan, or maybe some Huni Quinn. So I bring in some different things like that. I also love Sanskrit mantras. So I'll bring some mantras into the space as well. And there's no necessarily set list or plan.
Right.
It's all felt. It all depends on what's
Mhm.
needed in the space. There might be a night where it might be really important that I'm singing the Icaros, for most of the night, and that's what happens, and that
Mhm.
comes from my experience and my training, and my understanding of how to work with the energy in the space.
Mhm.
Um, we generally do a 3 night, sitting. However, I don't look at it as 3 separate nights. I look at it as one big ceremony.
Right.
And the reason for that is because there's always a continuation and a thread that comes. Now, every night can be very, very different, and sometimes someone might come for their first experience and they might not feel much or have much of an experience at all. And that's what happened with me. My very first experience, I had done so much research and I built it up, and I was like, I really want this experience so bad and I need it. And it was so subtle. I barely felt anything, and I was really disappointed. But then the next night it opened up a little bit more for me, and I got to feel some of the plant, and I got to connect more with the music.
Mhm.
Um, and then by the third night, I really felt that the intention that I came with, I was getting information around that intention. So again, it's like a relationship that it takes time.
Mhm. Yeah.
You you have a first date with somebody, you're going to talk about certain things to get to know them first, right?
Mhm.
And then maybe on the second date, well, you might have a hug or a kiss or something like that. You might get a little, and then on the third night, you might go a little bit deeper and decide, hey, I want to spend more time with this person.
Mhm.
Uh, so there's an arc that happens within the 3 nights, and it's really beautiful as well, with a beginning and a middle and an end. And normally on the end of the third night, we bring some conclusion to the work, that we're doing, some conclusion to that. And then I like to bring in some celebration. So I bring in some music that we can all as a community sing along together, maybe have some dancing and some movement.
Mhm.
Um, and it can be a really beautiful, beautiful moment within the ceremony. So when you ask what what a ceremony is like, well, it can be a multitude of different things,
Mhm.
and what a full ceremony, if you want to, get my opinion on a full ceremony, is making a commitment to
Mhm.
stepping into a container that involves multiple evenings, that you get to disconnect from your phone, disconnect from your outside world, and really go inward and take that moment to really explore yourself and healing within yourself. And energy healing, right? Like this is what this is energetic, this is vibrations,
Yeah.
this is what's bringing the healing. And so the more that we open ourselves to that, and the
Mhm.
more that we allow ourselves to feel the feelings, to
Mhm.
allow the music to move us, to
Mhm.
allow ourselves to express ourselves.
Mhm.
um, One more important thing about ceremony weekend and is that we do an integration circle,
Mhm.
and every day after ceremony, we all get together and we all get to share. We all get to moment to share what's come up for us or what we've experienced, and it never ceases to amaze me.
Mhm.
Um, and I say this all the time, that there's little nuggets of gold in what everybody has to share that has to do with your experience. So everyone has medicine for everybody else, and when we're in that space and we're present, we're all learning and we're all growing together. And again, that brings in the community aspect for it. And
That's
that's something, again, that I'm just so incredibly passionate about, that I think is needed a lot more in the world right now, is people coming together and supporting one another, and not being in competition with each other, but understanding that we're really here to help each other as best as we can to make the world a better place.
that's beautiful. I really appreciate that so much. Wait, do you have time for just 2 more quick questions?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
I think we'll have to definitely do this again and do, like, a part 2. Um,
Anytime.
I'm not
I
used
can
to the long
talk to
format. Yeah, this is good. I appreciate it. Well, I can tell you're really passionate about it, but also very knowledgeable, so
Thank you. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Okay, I'm going to read this question that came in. It says, I have a question for Kano if you have time. I am a licensed social service worker, and I've been interested in ayahuasca as medicine for years now. Some hallucinogens are starting to be studied again for mental health, but we are a long way off. How can experiencing an ayahuasca ceremony help a person who is deconstructing from an organized religion that they have left? How far along should their journey be before attempting something like this, in your opinion?
Yeah, that's a great question, because there's definitely a prep, it's important to be prepared for this as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in particularly if somebody is taking an antidepressant or something like that, there's a period of time that it's not safe for them to take this medicine without being clear from that. And the same with certain other things, right? And so maybe within this topic, it would be, I believe it would be based on an individual basis. Like, it's not something that we could really write the book and say, there's this amount of time. It would really depend on where they are in their path, and that would come down to myself or my team being able to do an intake call with the person and getting to ask them the questions we need to ask, and see where they are, to see where they are with things. I truly believe that when you come to this, you come to this medicine, and I'm gonna sidestep a little bit with this, where it's not even all about the medicine. It's not like, I've had many people come and sit with me and not partake in drinking the medicine or drinking the sacrament, and be a part of the ceremony and part of the collective energy and part of the healing that happens in there, and have an incredible experience, right? So again, it's not all about taking the medicine. Something else that I am connected with a group that's called Onaya Science, and these are some scientists that I helped them with the start of their project, actually down in Peru, where they're beginning to do studies. Well, they've been doing it for a while now, so they've published, I think, 14 or 15 papers.
Wow.
And so things are starting to happen where we're able to start having the scientific method to prove the benefits that
Mm-hmm.
come from this. I just believe that we're at a beginning stage with
Yeah.
this, especially in the Western world. Of course, it's been known about, for thousands of years,
Mm-hmm.
you know, uh, down in the jungle and down in many cultures down there is a medicine of healing. So we're starting to do that, and to the person's question as well, is we can see that as well with other plant medicines that are starting to become looked at, and seeing the medicinal benefits in that as well. And my prayer is that we're on our path to that, and providing a space for more people to be able to connect with this if they feel called, and to be able to connect with the ceremony, connect with the medicine, connect with the community, to be able to heal whatever they need to come to heal. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. And probably one of the last questions that we'll go over today is a commenter was wondering specifically about choosing intention. If you have any
Yeah,
thoughts that you'd like to share about that specifically.
sure. Um, yeah, intentions are really important. Coming to do this work, it's really important that we do come with an intention, and that can shift for us throughout the experience. Um, I used to do a lot of intention setting sessions with people before they would come. And one question that I like to ask, and this is a really great question to ask yourself when you're thinking about your intention, is how would I like to feel? So it's not about like what I particularly want to have in my life. Sometimes I'd have people that I'd be doing a session with, and I'd ask them, "Oh, what do you think your initial intention is coming?" And they'd say, well, I have this startup and I really want it. I really want my business to do better. I'm like, okay, let's take this a little bit deeper. Okay.
Mm.
Let's take this a little bit deeper. So, sometimes your intention can be, I want more love in my life. Like I have an intention of bringing more love into my life.
Mhm.
And you might come into ceremony with that intention, and we come in with intention, and then we release expectations of how we're going to get there, because the plant might teach us in well, the plant doesn't teach us in a linear way. The plant
Mhm.
might take us over way over here, and we might have to learn something about grief before we can come back to learning about bringing more love into our life. And maybe bringing more love into our life means we have to learn how to love ourselves better, and maybe that comes us facing with ways that we're treating ourselves or ways that we're treating other people. So
Yeah.
therein lies the challenge. Is in, we have this intention. Well, sometimes to face these things, that to get to this intention, sometimes to face these things, it's really challenging. You know, and they say
Mhm.
that ayahuasca gives you what you need, not what you want, and
Mm.
that can be a lot different than a lot of other medicines per se, where you're given more just what you want and not necessarily what you need. And sometimes what you need is that grandmother
Mhm.
unconditional love that knows what you need, that's going to teach you even though you might not want it. Yeah.
Wow. Well, this has been absolutely beautiful. I appreciate you so much. There's a few other questions that are kind of coming in here, and I just want to share with everyone. I appreciate them so much, and I'm going to actually go ahead and start jotting them down, and I'm going to see if I can get Kano back to come on and do a part two, because since education is such a big part of the Mother Aya organization, I mean, and I personally, I know people who they said that their lives have been completely changed,
Mhm.
and I haven't had that experience because I haven't done it myself, but I would like to learn. And I just want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for your dedication in not just learning it and apprenticing and really getting it to be like you're a master, to be able to know how to do it. I can feel the safety that you take that very seriously.
Yeah.
And that's such a big deal because, like I said, safety is paramount to me. Um, but I just want to say thank you so much. We'll go ahead and continue jotting down any of these other questions. If anyone has any other questions, please feel free to reach out to them as well. You can reach them directly at Mother Aya Collective on Instagram. You can also reach out to them on their website, which I shared a little bit earlier. I'll go ahead and grab it one more time for you guys. But a lot of people have been writing in saying this is huge that these guys are coming to the energy healing conference. This is going to make it a lot more accessible for people who maybe don't even know about it at all. It's like completely new um, for their POV, right? And so I just appreciate you guys. Again, here's their website, motheraya.com. You can go there. You can find a 25-page guidebook that's going to give you answers to lots of questions and also lots of support too. And can they also go ahead and sign up for a call or other information to find out if this is right for them?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's there for them. If they're interested, they can sign up for a call and talk to somebody and get more information. 100%.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, we'll
Yeah.
have you back on again and we'll talk to you later. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to meeting you in person in June.
Same.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, as a
Awesome.
matter of fact, we didn't even really talk about that, but you guys, Kano and Danny and the team from Mother Aya are going to be at the Energy Healing Conference this summer. That's June 19th and 20th, and we would love to have you be a part of it. As a matter of fact, we sent out a big email last night to our entire email list, letting them know that we have some free tickets to attend the conference. If you didn't get a chance to check that out, if you haven't seen that yet and you'd like to come, please feel free to reach out to either Kano or his team, or you can also reach out to me directly because we do have, I mean, a pretty generous amount that was sponsored from their organization so that people can attend. And this is a totally free event, June 19th and 20th, if you get those free tickets pre-registered, because as always, it will be a full event. So you want to make sure you get signed up to attend. Here's the link for that down in the comments if anybody needs that. Just energyhealingconference.com. All right. Thank you again. Appreciate your time. So much.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Have a wonderful evening, and I look forward to part 2.
All right. Awesome. Okay. Same. You too. Bye-bye, everyone. Okay.